Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mormonism After Dark. It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock p.m. up in the Rockies and up and along the mountain time zone. And in other time zones, it's a different time, but you can figure that out for yourself. I'm just glad to be here. Bill, how are you doing and how was your week?
It has been a fantastic week.
Wow.
Not for any particular reason, but just been fun. Been bowling, having a party at my house tomorrow night. So I've been
What did you bowl?
I bowled the last three games I played, I bowled a 150, a 135, and like barely over 100.
Okay, were you using those bumpers though?
No, I wasn't using the bumpers.
Because I'd have to use bumpers to get that high.
I used to bowl just a straight ball, and I would just bowl right around 100. And if I had a really good game, it'd be 118 or 120. I finally watched some YouTube videos in 2 or 3 years ago and got to the point where I was bowling pretty consistently 170. And once in a while,
these how to bowl videos?
Yeah, just you have to throw a curveball. You have to hit the pocket. You have to hit it at a certain angle. And if you do those three things right, then you end up with a lot more strikes. And so I was just determined to get better at bowling and thought, why not? Let's do it.
Well, that's to be commended. That reminds me of Heber J. Grant when he was a boy.
Yeah, I couldn't throw. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, right?
But by the time he was done, he could. Now, whether it was his practice or the fact that they finally got him glasses to wear so he could see, I don't know which.
It could be either. It's the same guy who got really good handwriting too. He had bad handwriting and he made his handwriting better.
Because he worked and he worked and he worked on that penmanship. And you were working on your bowling.
Yeah. And I'll just say, like, again, this is a prophet of God, prophet, seer, and revelator. And when they write his biography, that's pretty much all they have to say about him.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's about it, I think.
That's it.
That's the whole life in a nutshell, except he became the president of the LDS Church and a prophet of God and a pretty good banker, I think.
Name 3 spiritual things that he did that you would go, that right there is a prophet, seer, and revelator.
Well, one that I don't think talked about, but Marion G. Romney sure talked about, was when he told Marion G. Romney, when Marion G. Romney was a bishop, that he should do whatever it is the prophet tells him to do. And even if it's wrong and you do it, you'll be blessed. That was a Heber J. Grant-ism.
Yeah. Well, I don't see the prophetic mantle there.
Well, that's because you didn't see the twinkle in his eye, which Marion G. Romney described immediately thereafter. And then with a twinkle in his eye, he said, my boy, well, don't worry, because the prophet, the mouthpiece of God, will never lead the people astray.
Yeah, you say twinkle, but at their age, I think even tinkle's hard enough without the W.
Let's call the whole thing off.
There you go.
So there's that. That's one thing. Also, I think that he said something about angels and never having seen an angel. He let that one slip too, didn't he?
I don't think any of them have seen an angel. Elder Oaks has implied as much.
Yes, but they don't let it slip.
No, they generally want you to think they talk to God. And in the most honest of moments, they admit they don't talk to God.
Yes. So let me see here. You go ahead. Anything else about your week that you want to share with the audience, Bill, while I try and see if I can find this?
No, life is good. I will say this, though, while you're looking for something, it is pinned in the live chat at the very top. You've got the URL address to StreamYard to come into the studio and be part of the show. So we hope that you'll come along and join. Folks, it's also in the YouTube description down below. You can find it there. And I will post it in the live chat right now as well. And so hopefully you'll be a part of tonight's show. Mormonism After Dark. Here we are. It's another Friday night.
Yes. So I think I found that it's Heber J. Grant. There's a bit of a context to it. Well, I may as well go ahead and tell you the context. About 13 months before he died on May 7th, 1941, General Authority Rulon Wells shared experiences from his life, confirming to him that the church was true. Wells described one bizarre dream. Hang on a second here. I hope this is about Heber J. Grant, because if it's not, I'm going to be really mad at this at Google. I'm not even sure it's about Heber J. Grant. I think it's just about this guy. Well, anyway, I'll continue to look while we continue to talk, but we don't have to get sidetracked there. I'll ask the live chat. We got a lot of smart people in the live chat. Does anybody know what I'm talking about or what I might be missing? Trying to talk about, but getting it somewhat skew about Heber J. Grant saying that he had never seen an angel or some kind of divine manifestation, but I thought it was an angel. If you can find that, that would be great.
By the way,
yes.
If we went to 100 random faithful temple recommend holding members, and we said, name 3 things that Heber J. Grant or George Albert Smith or name any of those guys, Joseph F. Smith, Joseph Field, name 3 things they did that was prophetic. Don't you get the hunch that pretty much every faithful member put into that 100 random folks would struggle to figure out what it was of worthwhile that their leaders did?
Yes, and I've only come up with 2, and I'm not sure most members would think that was really prophetic, but I think the number 3 was it Heber J. Grant who said or made observance of the word of wisdom mandatory to enter the temple?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that.
But
I did find another quote here that did have the angel thing. Let me see if I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And is it about Heber J. Grant and not that Rulon Wells guy?
Yeah, but they don't let you do a search on the page for the words, and there's too many of the quotes. So,
okay.
Many men say, if I could only see an angel, if I could only hear an angel proclaim something, that would cause me to be faithful all the days of my life. But he doesn't imply whether he himself had or had not seen an angel.
Well, maybe it's in there somewhere, because that sounds like a likely place to look, huh? So you don't have to look right now.
Yeah. Well, let's put the slideshow up and share with folks some of the things that are going on.
Yes, let's. Okay, it's Mormonism After Dark. It's January 30th, 2026, for those of you out there who were not sure what day it was. And here's something that is over on Jasmine Rapley's channel, about 140 million to Hamas. And then she says the fake LDS connection to Islamist terrorism. Now, I haven't gone into the story that much, okay? All I know is that we were going to cover this story last Monday on the Mormon newscast, and it was in the chute to be covered. I think it went plenty long without it, but it's certainly an important story until within an hour or 2 before go time for the newscast, Rebecca was texting us saying that she was getting indications from her sources that this might not be true, and that the source for this information could be very biased and have every reason to be saying this, even if it weren't true. I don't remember any more of the details than that. And I said, okay, well, we're yanking it, because I was in charge. Next week, are you in charge? I think is Rebecca next week?
I think it's me next week.
Yeah, it's you next week, then Rebecca, then back to me. So that's how we do it. So I was in charge last Monday, and I said, okay, we're going to yank it. And Rebecca was saying, well, you want to have one slide about it? No, we don't even mention this. Okay. And the only reason we would mention it would be to discount it. And we didn't really know enough about the discounting in order to go there either. So that's why we didn't talk about it. And I'm glad that we didn't, because now the apologists are saying, hey, this is fake. This is fake. This isn't real. And the church is not giving 140 million to Hamas.
Yeah, we pulled a Ronald Pullman on everybody, although we'll self-admit it and acknowledge it up front, no cough track in the back. But our original thumbnail for the newscast had this story being the lead story. And
yes, that's right.
So if folks remember, if you go, man, I sort of thought that I saw a thumbnail with this on it, you did. But the moment we learned that there might be credibility issues with this story, we immediately, again, under your lead for you directing that week's newscast, but we pulled it immediately. Again, just one more instance of just noting, like, go with wherever the logic goes. If there's a problem with a story, it doesn't do any good to criticize the church under false pretenses. There's plenty to criticize about the church under just sharing the facts, just sharing the stories as they really happen. And so the moment we learned that there was a problem with this story, as you pointed out, we pulled it.
Thank you for reminding me about the thumbnail. Of course, you made it.
Yeah.
So you'd made the thumbnail, and yes, and then we yanked it down. And that's why Rebecca was saying, well, do we want to even mention it because to explain about the thumbnail? And I said, no, we just
Yep.
won't even talk about it.
Yeah.
So if this ends up being correct, we can talk about it next week. So I guess we'll see. It's not like I'm taking Jasmine's word for it, that it's a fake LDS connection, but that was the information that was coming into Rebecca from her sources before the newscast on Monday.
Yeah, I would say anytime an apologist says something, you ought to probably start giving the benefit the other direction, but you still should trust but verify. You should always make sure that you've got your facts straight.
And you're never going to hear about this story anywhere except for Mormonism After Dark, where a lot of times we talk about the story that happens behind the podcast, the things that you would not know otherwise, and sometimes for good reason. We're going to get to this here in a second, because this has to do with last Wednesday's Mormonism live show with Chuck. And because Chuck was going to join us, isn't he? Chuck, are you out there? Well, we'll see if he comes into the show. Now, this was a couple weeks ago. I saw this message. Now Chuck comes into the studio. I'll finish this thought. It's courtesy of Ward Radio. And the message for the day is weak men create weak theology. And I have no idea what it means, but I thought I would give a comment. And so I did. I said, thanks for explaining why the men of Ward Radio are so weak. LOL. Yes.
Question for you.
Yes.
Wasn't it Jonah Barnes who riffed on a bunch of bullshit, creating a bunch of theology around the Adam God doctrine that turned out to be blatantly false?
Yes. And when things are so weak, they turn out to be false. That's pretty weak.
Yeah.
But I wanted to write that to the person I associate most with Ward Radio, which is Mr. Stay Puffed himself, Cardin Ellis.
Yeah. Good old Mr. Ellis.
Nobody steps on a church in my town.
Not
All right, so is Chuck here? Wait a second here.
Wielding a knife at an airport.
Oh, sorry. I did that. Chuck, what are you doing? You were pointing at me. It's what you were doing. Ixnay on the icking pay of the Osnay.
I hear you, Chuck. Your sound, you have no sound. I'm going to take you back off until you solve that. Wave your hands violently.
That looked like one of those Rankin-based claymation Christmas specials, the way he was moving. Can we see him again?
Do the second token of the Aaronic priesthood when your sound works.
Doesn't this look like a Rankin Bass production?
I don't know.
Okay, Chuck, I want you to say after me. Gold and silver, silver and gold.
Can't hear you, Chuck.
Nothing. No.
Tell us while we're setting up for Chuck, we've got the slide
Chuck.
after or the slide before.
They call me Chuck.
What do you want to say about something before or after?
Well, no, this is the whole thing. This is it. So, okay, Chuck. Okay, we're done with that. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's just talk about this because I was really excited to see that in a recent show, it was the one where I was about the aliens built the pyramids, right? That's what the thumbnail says, and I knew it would catch some loons, but what I was surprised that we got Chief Mitiga watching it. Chief Mitiga left his footprint in the comment section. And he says, David Mitiga, oh man, something. Okay, but it's Chief Mitiga. He says, the director of Maya studies in Guatemala and the Maya library in Quintana Roo and the Maya ceremonial leaders all affirmed it last March, by which I think he means the Book of Mormon. The issue is it's anglicized. So yeah, you are arguing blind. Wow.
How many factions of Mormonism has Chief Mitiga become disenfranchised from at this point?
Well, all the wrong ones, obviously. All the apostate ones are the ones that he's become disenfranchised from. All the ones who wouldn't follow his lead and submit themselves to his rule.
As the church lady said, isn't that convenient?
Yeah. So Chuck, talk to us. Chuck.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank God. Okay. Now tell us about, actually, tell us about this. Because Dan Childs, I'm sorry, I don't remember it's singular or plural, which is kind of ironic given the fact it's about this. So Dan had conjured this up
Singular.
somehow, and he sent it to me and asked if I would send it to Chuck. And I said, sure. And Chuck was just very enamored with it, and he really thought it was funny. So, Chuck, could you tell us what is this and why is it so damn funny?
What did you say his name was? Childs?
I think
Childs.
it's Dan Childs.
Dan Childs. Brilliant. Well
It
done.
should be children, really, if it's Childs. But
Perfectly executed. I love Elohim here. This is beautiful.
Elohim.
In the beginning, Elmo God created the heavens and the earth. That is the funniest thing I have seen in a long time.
Me, Elmo loved to create the universe.
I'm never going to be able to say that verse again in Hebrew without saying Elohim now.
Well, that's nice. I like this. Okay, so by the way, there's something else you had wanted to say. You wanted to add a postscript. You weren't satisfied with what you'd said on Wednesday show?
No, it wasn't that. I mean, I've heard it was a great show. Everybody's saying it's the best guest you've ever had. And
I'm not hearing that. Are you hearing that, Bill?
They said you're huge.
It was huge.
Oh, that's
everybody's
terrible.
got to see it.
Bill, no body shaming. Not on my watch, pal. Okay, so hang on a second here. There we go. Now we've got a Chuck sandwich going.
Oh, I like this.
I don't even
This is
know
where
what
I'm
that
comfortable in the middle. Yeah. So,
yes, what did you want to say about Wednesday?
I only wanted to add one thing. There was one key point that I intended to make, and as I was seeing the clock countdown, I skipped it accidentally. So we were talking about in the comparison where we were showing that, comparing KJV, Book of Moses, Book of Abraham, and there's a key problem there when you stop and think about it. So remember, it follows Joseph. Joseph is doing Book of Moses right after the Book of Mormon translation, within months. And then we get all the way down to the Book of Abraham, and we have the switch from I that God is using. He's putting his own singular into the text. I, God. Remember that? And then once Joseph learns Hebrew, he's saying they, the gods, in the Book of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And when you follow Joseph's timeline, that makes perfect sense, and you miss something that's underlying there. And that's the chronology. Can you think of a chronology problem between Book of Moses being first and Book of Abraham being second? How do they play
the fact that one lived, that's the opposite order in which they're represented as living and therefore writing.
Exactly. Book of Abraham has to come first. And Moses, he comes much, much later, 600 years later, maybe more, something like that. Did God just forget to tell Moses that Elohim is a plural? And in fact, doubled down and said, I, God, in the singular?
This is an evidence that Mormonism is true and that Joseph Smith knew what he was talking about. The older version of Judaism has plural gods.
Yeah.
Now, they're not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, but they have a plurality of gods. And it's not until Moses' time, because Moses doesn't live when Moses lived. He actually lives later than that, when monotheism was all the rage. And so Judaism had adopted monotheism by that time, which is reflected in the book that bears his name, Moses, chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's a lot of bullshit, but yeah, I can see where you're getting it from. What's that?
A bull?
A bull, yes, exactly. Stick your hand out and wish in that hand and have the bull in the other hand and see which one fills up first.
See if he evacuates his bowels.
But ultimately, there's two versions of Genesis here that the Mormon has to choose between. And one invalidates the other. You can't have them both be revelation or, read off of the papyri or given as revelation, which the Book of the Book of Moses claims it is. So one has to be invalidated by the other. So which one do you choose?
Yeah, you'd think there'd be some consistency, wouldn't you? If it was so important, because the great apostasy occurred and the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ is, and again, it's when it comes to the Book of Mormon, for instance, it's the most correct book on earth. Mormon theology is supposed to be the truth. You would think that you would get some things really consistent, but Charlie Harrell doesn't seem to find a whole lot of that.
No. So yeah, and I think the LDS people, they have to choose the Book of Abraham. They don't have much choice there. The temple, the next version of Genesis that comes out, right? That follows the Book of Abraham in that direction. The doctrine of eternal progression is a thing, and that comes out of the Book of Abraham. So what are we doing with the Book of Moses still? That's invalidated itself with the Book of Abraham. So it's a tough choice.
It's also not to mention that the Book of Moses borrows heavily from the New Testament Gospels of Luke and Matthew, particularly the Gospel or the Sermon on the Mount and the Sermon on the Plain. There's a lot of those thematic elements in the Book of Moses, and I don't really see why or how it could even be there. It's not even a Christ story. It's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Strange stuff.
Very strange.
Is that the point that you'd wanted to make, Chuck?
That's basically it. Just that seems like everything God does with Joseph, God can only see as far as Joseph is.
Mm-hmm.
And God is able to expand as Joseph expands. And
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, great point. Thank you for that postscript, Chuck. Once again, a great show, and you were a fantastic guest.
Oh, I mean, maybe just a little more, but then you can stop.
No, you were okay, really.
I was pretty okay.
Yes, you were.
Hey, Dan Vogel said something about it being a great show at the end. I took that to the bank. I feel pretty good. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and Dan Vogel, once you got his seal of approval, you got it made.
Yeah.
You can make it there. You can make it anywhere.
Well, I hope I'm going somewhere now then.
All right, Chuck. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you again, gentlemen.
Bye.
Okay, good night.
See ya.
Well, it was nice to hear from Chuck again. It looks like he's going all Grizzly Adams on us.
That beard's longer than it was on Wednesday.
I know. It got so virile. You can see the difference in his beard length in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an animal, that Chuck.
He is. And I know if there, we're just going to put up a couple more things here and we'll get to you, Chad. Okay. In just a second.
Yeah. Chad Daybell's joining us.
Yes. He's calling in from prison. Oh, no, he's shaking his head. That was terrible, Bill. Some people might think, I don't want to be called Chad Daybell just because my first name is Chad and my last name is Daybell, and I'm in prison in Idaho for the rest of my life.
And there's a little bit of a resemblance. It might be Chad.
Oh, man. Okay, hang on a second here.
Look at the looks he's giving.
Hang on. Chad, do I need to rough Bill up a little bit for you?
I thought I was offended last week when RFN makes fun of me being in a car, and now Bill's placing me in prison. I don't know. I don't know what to say now. Of all the comparisons to make.
So you're doing the whole day, huh?
What's that?
So you're doing the whole day, huh?
Doing the whole day?
It's
what do you mean?
Lingo. It's prison lingo for life.
See, and I am not, in prison, so I don't have a grasp of the lingo.
He didn't get that, so I think he's telling the truth.
Oh my gosh!
This is not Chad Daybell. This is a different Chad.
Thank you. I'm going to continue to call in for you guys to give me a hard time every week about something different.
For the record,
appalled. I felt like I interrupted you too much last week, so I was going to lay back, and then Bill just jumps in and starts savaging you.
You look nothing like him, by the way. Just FYI. It was a joke.
Thank you.
It was a joke.
Every generation, there's a new derogatory meaning to my name. It was the hanging chads that I had to deal with. Then it was, it keeps coming back to me.
Life is rough.
There's more than just the hanging Chad from 2000, or is it the dangling Chad?
The hanging Chad, yeah. I
Yeah,
heard all about that. Heard over and over. Anyways,
the little Chad that could
yeah,
make way for Chads.
that's what it is. So, here's a thought on a topic. Okay, I watched a video this week that has to do with Jacob Hansen, and if you have no interest in naming anything more about the man, I can stop talking now.
Oh, go ahead and
But
tell
I'll
us.
leave
I'm
that
doing
to you.
an RFM show on him, so let us know what's going on.
So he had he did a debate with Joe Hirschmeyer.
Yeah, and he's milking that thing for all it's worth. He's done like 5 videos just commenting on it.
Yeah. So Kevin Bertuzzi, his
Zinheimer.
channel. Exactly.
Who's this?
He
Kevin
is
Bertuzzi.
Capturing Christianity, I think. He's a Catholic apologist, sort of the host of the debate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So he sort of put it all together. And it premiered on his channel. And this week he premiered a discussion that happened the night before the debate. So I brought myself to. It was the night before the debate. It was a discussion that happened. It was just like in a conference hall, and they had a discussion between Joe Hirschmeyer, Jacob Hansen, and I don't remember the name. There was a Protestant apologist that was there.
And the Mormon walk into a
bar. Walked into a conference hall. Yes, and they had some Q&A after. And somebody asked the question to Jacob Hansen that basically said, okay, we have DNC 101, which, was changed, removed from the Doctrine and Covenants after some time. So DNC 101 now is not DNC 101 in 1844, right? Specifically, it said that polygamy is bad. Don't do polygamy. We don't do polygamy, right?
Yeah, it said, inasmuch as we have been crimed with, or accused of the crime of polygamy, let us tell you right now that we're not doing any of that kind of stuff. And it's just one man, one woman around here, as far as you can see.
Right. So the question posed to Jacob was, this was in the Doctrine and Covenants during a time when the leadership was practicing polygamy. Mm-hmm. How can you trust a spiritual leader who is lying to you? And I think that's a fair question, right? It kind of, but his response, I had to watch it again several times to understand if he was actually saying what he was saying. But he said basically that there was a reason for hiding it, right? There's a reason for lying. And he made a comparison to if a Nazi were to knock on your door, you would lie about Jews being in your house. And he said, basically made a comparison about that lie to lying about polygamy, which completely floored me because, one, like, anytime you're going to bring that into the conversation,
can I just stop you
comparison?
Right there? I'm going to interrupt for just a second. I apologize. I'm sorry. But you see, he wants to go off on another subject because the bottom line is that if you are a member of the German military going house to house in 1940s or late 1930s Germany looking for Jews, and you come to a homeowner and you say, do you have any Jews in your attic? And they say, 9, there's no Jews in my attic. And then you hear a sneeze from up there and you go up there and you find the Jews in the attic. No, you're not going to trust that homeowner anymore to tell you the truth about whether there's Jews in the attic.
Well, no. So here's the thing. Not only one is it an inflammatory comparison to make. Number two, and it's exactly the point you're saying here, the comparison that he's actually making is there are times when it is morally acceptable to lie which I would say is true in the first case, but the case of lying to hide polygamy, that's him saying that that is a morally acceptable time to lie. This is an apologist from the church saying out loud, it is morally acceptable to lie about the church, which means there's nothing Jacob Hansen ever says again that you can trust, because he already told you he is prepared and thinks it's morally acceptable to lie about the church if it protects the name of the church.
Very good. Welcome to the party, Chad.
RFM, have you ever caught Jacob Hansen in a lie?
You know, he lies all the time. He lies like fish drink.
I think something tomorrow will involve that, won't it?
Oh, yeah. We're just going to pin him to the wall, make him squirm like a bug.
By the way,
this is very interesting. So, yeah, you see, you come up with something like this, and he says, oh, well, I'll come up with some example that everybody will agree with. You know, it's always the Germans and the Jews in the attic. It's always that, right? And everybody will agree with it. And somehow that gets me off the hook when actually it didn't say anything about the question that was being asked him in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's saying it's morally acceptable. It's not, the question isn't morality. The question is whether you can trust someone who lies to you.
Right. I think you can't trust somebody that lies to you, and you especially can't trust somebody who consistently makes a point of being okay lying to you.
Yes. Yeah. He's very okay with lying. It's his bread and butter. With Jonah Barnes, his bread and butter, pardon the punter, his bread and butter is
other people's bread and butter.
Yeah, plagiarizing and stealing other people's work and presenting it as his own. Jacob Hansen, it's lying his ass off. He will say anything that he possibly can in order to win the debate in his mind. It doesn't have to have anything to do with what Mormonism really is or what Mormonism really teaches. In fact, it's usually helpful to change that in order to make it something that is easier to defend.
Exactly. And, yeah, he makes a habit of just chameleoning himself to whatever audience he's in, so that he can say, well, I know this audience will believe this way. I'm going to say, well, of course we blah, 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 blah. And listen, anytime he says the words, of course, what he's doing is trying to say, I agree with you. We agree on this thing, which I'm going to say implies that you also agree with me on the next part that I'm going to say. That's what he does. He says, well, of course, I don't think that X, nobody thinks that X, therefore Y. And all he's trying to do is get you to say, to get you to agree with him on something, and then push that limit of what he's saying. I don't know if that made sense at all, but there it is.
Those instances are different anyway. I mean, in one instance, a German is lying to protect human life. And in the other instance, Joseph Smith lied and operated in deception in ways that manipulated and harmed women, and I'll say children. You have to go back to a motivation. Like, what's the motivation behind the lying? And if the motivation is to save a Jew in the attic, great. If the motivation is to get into a 14 or 15-year-old's pants, that's another issue, and we can't justify that.
See, he's got polygamy.
Which side is the predator on? It switches which side the predator is on.
Yep. That's the question.
Here's a simple dividing line. And I heard this recently, and it made sense to me, okay? We talking about white lies and black lies or whatever, okay? But a lie is, I'm going to say sinful, okay? I hope I don't offend anybody with that, but a bad thing, okay? It's something that shouldn't be done. A lie should not be done to help yourself. It's okay to lie to help somebody else. That's the dividing line.
That's the most brilliant thing I've ever heard.
Wow, I'm glad to have repeated it.
Oh, yeah, so did that help you? Did that help you, RFM, when I said that?
And what you're talking about here is exactly the two sides of that. So the guy in Germany is lying to help somebody else. Joseph Smith is lying to help himself.
Yeah, and it needs to not be helping a cohort or another bad person. It needs to be helping the innocent party in a situation.
Oh, yeah, that would be like a conspiracy kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we can shut this show down for tonight.
Well, thank you,
That's
Chad.
it.
We're gonna
All right.
we're gonna send Chad out to hang. So there he is. We're gonna hang you out to dry.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.
Bye bye. Don't hang. No hanging, Chad. No hanging, Chad. We're gonna send him out to hang. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out hang him out to dry, and I'm trying to figure out how I could use hanging Chad, and I failed miserably.
You're in rare form tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm tripping over my own feet. All right.
It's a good thing this show is live. I mean, you started off by saying he looks like Chad Daybell, and you end off by saying go and hang yourself.
Well,
You didn't actually say hang yourself.
no,
But
I didn't mean that either.
No, and here's Dieter Uchtdorf. This is before and after pictures.
That son of a bitch is getting old.
Yeah, but wasn't he something back in the 80s?
God, his tan aged off.
That will happen
Yeah.
as the blood recedes from the face and starts going closer to the heart.
Some still think he's the silver fox, but yeah, he is up there. He's just about nursing home material.
He just needs a good bronzer. He'll be back in the ring in no time.
Ah,
And here's some comments. Everybody had mentioned comments in the live chat. By the way, we have such a wonderful live chat. It is its own ecosystem. It's its own biome. And so, is it a biome or a biosphere? Whatever it is, it's a lot of fun. So, Bill, could you tell people, because I want to encourage the listeners out there who are not in the live chat to watch the live chat and also to join the live chat, because they're also very welcoming in the live chat. And it's a lot of fun to watch, but it's a lot of fun, even more fun to participate.
look, every episode we put out gets somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, on the low end, 5,000-6,000 views. On the high end, 20,000-25,000 views. Most of those folks are watching the show after it's done, gone live, it's over, and it's just sitting there as a published video. But folks, there is an amazing community in the live chat. They show up 20-25 minutes early sometimes for the show. They banter back and forth with each other. They help us locate things when we're asking a question. They'll go find the answer for us. And like you say, there's a lot of camaraderie there. So if you're looking for some community, you enjoy the content we're putting out, you want to be watching the show live and enjoying the live chat and participating there with everyone else.
So we've got over 300 people watching live right now. Obviously, you have to be watching live to be in the live chat, because once the show's over, the live chat's over, then you're restricted just to the comment section underneath the YouTube.
Yeah.
But if you want to join, there's over 300 watching, and there's not that many who are in the live chat. So if you want to go ahead and get in the live chat and just say hi, you don't have to use your real name, said by one who knows. You don't have to use your real name. A lot of people don't use their real name in the live chat. Some do, others don't. So you can just do whatever you want. Just say hi. You can read, you can comment, you can have a good time, and you can make some new friends. Oh, yeah. And we have some comments here. I'm sorry. The slide is about the comments. So this was, who was this? Aaron Shook says, responding to some guy. She says, I remember the day that my parents told me about shaking hands with spirits and how to tell bad ones from good ones. I went in my room and pondered seriously. I mean, can you imagine? I can imagine being a kid and your parents, who were supposed to be the source of what's real and what's true, tell you this kind of stuff.
When you're a Mormon, RFM, you have an expectation of the kinds of experiences that are going to happen in your life, because your parents and the church and the teachers you have in primary are telling you the craziest ass stories, to where, like you say, you need to go home and go, oh, I'm going to deal with good and evil spirits throughout my life. It's going to be such a serious thing that I need to know this methodology to figure out which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. It's kind of like quicksand. When I was a kid, I thought there was going to be a lot more quicksand in life, because every show had the good people falling into quicksand, having to get rescued. And I thought, I'm going to encounter quicksand at least a dozen times in my life.
Especially if you're in Africa.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Didn't happen once. And when you spend time thinking about how you're going to shake an angel's hand to figure out if he's good or bad, when you'll never need that at all.
And it's not like it's really clear. It's kind of confusing. It's not easy to remember which is which, and if they do this, then that means this. It's kind of like the pellet with the poisons and the vessel with the pestle. The chalice from the palace has the brew that is true.
And think about all the visitations that Joseph Smith claims he had before he learned the handshake. Like the first vision. Do we know for sure that was God and Jesus? Because he didn't try to shake the hand.
Okay. Well, like section 132, which we remember it used to say that Joseph Smith had learned some of the basic principles of this as early as 1831. Well, Joseph Smith had learned this method as early as 1820, I don't know, 1820, okay? But he didn't get around to writing it down until the 1840s.
Of course.
Or 30s.
Yeah.
So some guy out there responds to Aaron and says, ha ha, true Trevor. Oh, I'm sorry. Ha ha, true Trevor. He's responding to true Trevor. Any day after the time you figure it out, it says in bonus, but I think it was supposed to be is a bonus. And you know something? I thought this was really profound. Okay. And I want to highlight this. The other one's really great too. I'm not playing favorites. Okay. I love you all equally. What some guy out there is saying is a response that I need to remember because, I spent decades of my life in Mormonism and doing all the things I was supposed to do as a good Mormon. And that's a lot of stuff. And so when you finally realize that Mormonism is not what it claims to be, and you think about your life and how much you spent in Mormonism and how much you have left of your life because you spent so much in Mormonism, dark thoughts can accumulate. And I remember my first time down at Sunstone, 2019, some fellow got up and asked, I don't know what he looked like because I was behind the sheet at that time, but some guy got up, I'm guessing he was aged and talking about his age and, and he's just like figured it out. He says, what do I do? I'm so full of anger. And that anger is definitely understandable. Some guy out there says, any day after the time you figure it out is a bonus. And maybe that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. I've said this so many times on the podcast, and I'll say it 100 more times. There are so many 50, 60, 70-year-olds who say, man, Bill, I was so stupid. It took me so long to figure it out. And to a T, every time I go, no. You're one of the ones who figured it out. Yeah. Like you figured it out. You ought to celebrate that.
Elder Holland didn't figure it out.
No. Nelson didn't figure it out. No.
Graveyards are full of people who didn't figure it out.
All the dead guys didn't figure it out. Yeah. By the way, what if the God or the angel that taught Joseph Smith the handshake process was in fact a deceiving angel and taught Joseph Smith the opposite process by which you would know? Like, you can't know. It's sort of a stupid thing because there's so many holes in when it was taught. Did Joseph use it even after the fact? For instance, the angel with the drawn sword. Did he try to shake his hand? Doesn't seem like it. Seems like he was scared because the angel had a drawn sword. If he didn't utilize it, or it wasn't given early on, or it was given by a deceiving spirit, how would you know? It's just effed up theology.
What kind of deceiving spirit would try and deceive somebody with these crazy handshakes?
Yeah.
The way you know if it's a real angel from God is when he asks you to pull his finger. That's what I know. Okay, I'm going to do another one, and then we're going to have someone else who's visiting us tonight. So Skeeter says, this is in a different place. This is when you were talking about that newspaper that had the article, the affidavit from Joseph Smith Sr. about going back and checking out Alvin's grave and finding out that his body had not been disturbed.
Yeah, and this is Scooter, by the way.
Why is that funny?
Because you said Skeeter.
Oh, sorry. I almost said Jacob Hansen. Is it Skeeter?
Scooter.
It looks like a scooter to me. Okay, well, whoever it is says, I miss those small town newspapers. I thought that was funny. Good one, Skeeter or Scooter. Hey, guess who's here?
Trevor
Larson, the guy you banned not too long ago.
Do you hate me, Trevor Larson?
No. I'm very
Well, that's
bannable.
very big of you.
Yeah, no big deal. I found some prophecy I wanted to tell you guys about that the church confirmed.
What is it?
Yeah, it's in the form of a song that the church made an announcement like a few months ago, and right when they said it, I was like, "Oh wow, they just proved someone was a prophet." And it's from a guy whose name is David Berman, and he had a pretty famous band called Silver Jews, and they had a song that is called Dallas. You see where this is going? So if you look up
I have
Silver
no idea
Jews
at
and
all.
song lyrics Dallas, yeah, if you look it up, Silver Jews song lyrics Dallas, it'll come up. I'm sure we can't play it since copyright, but the
Yeah,
lyrics are
we have to
interesting.
watch that. So Silver Jews is the name of a band.
Yeah, they're a pretty big band from like the 80s and 90s,
I miss
2000s.
them somehow. I guess they weren't into the disco
Yeah, they
scene.
got a lot of good stuff. Yeah, more like an indie. He's a real poet. Like his lyrics are pretty incredible. He isn't alive anymore. He died a few years ago,
Can you sing this? We've got the lyrics up there. Starts with, I passed out on the
I'm not
14th
good.
floor.
Yeah, so that first, people maybe can help me with all these prophecies. I haven't got them all figured out yet. But
Are
the
these
whole
like
14th floor
quatrains?
thing is, but I don't know what that means.
The quatrains that Nicodemus, not Nicodemus. Okay, the French monk, 13th century, Nostradamus. His prophecies were famously written in quatrains.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to listen to it, I guess. You can tell me.
Okay.
But
What
yeah, the
is
whole
this?
14th floor thing. A lot of What was that?
What does this song have to do with an LDS hymn?
No, it's a prediction about Dallas and his life. Because he knew Dallas's name was Dallas before Dallas knew his name was Dallas.
Dallas Oaks.
This song was written in 1996,
Okay.
and it
Before he
predicts our
got the
day
name
and
Dallas.
time perfectly. Well, he didn't know his
Dallas
name
is
was
like
Dallas
his
yet,
new
but
name.
but the songwriter knew.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Dallas, you shine with an evil light. I mean, come on. Can any song be more true?
Look at all
Don't
the
you know that God stays up all night? Well, he sure did for President Nelson, and he
Yeah, I
wouldn't
have to
give
listen
President
to it.
Nelson a wink of sleep either.
and how you turn
Yeah,
a
every time I
billion
listen to it, it makes me laugh.
into buildings made of mirrors. Ooh, it's a temple reference, and you get a bunch of just sheep to go through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it always makes me laugh when I listen.
Is that the chorus?
Yeah, the chorus. Oh, Dallas, you shine with an evil light. I don't know, good singer, but people have to check it out. It's a good song.
Okay, so Silver Jews singing Dallas with a chorus dedicated to President
Yeah.
Dallas Oaks.
I think the whole song's about him, but people have to judge for themselves.
Well, that's great. So you got a reference that I did not
Yeah.
get. There's a world of references. There's a whole galaxy of references out there that I do not get. And that's one of them. Thanks for bringing it
Yeah,
up.
it was fun. Yeah, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Take it easy.
Absolutely, Trevor. Thanks for being
See you
in the
guys.
show and in the live chat. I always love reading your comments after
Yeah.
the show when I can.
Yeah, it's always fun. Thanks, guys.
Take it- Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
By the
You know
way,
what? I didn't realize until way late in the game he was talking about Dallas hoax. I thought he was talking about Dallas the city, which of course what the song is really talking about. But anyway.
yeah, I'm going way back here because you got this one that you never touched on. What's going on here?
Well, it was January 22nd, so it's last weekend, and I'm spending it's late at night, and I'm watching Hamlet, okay, because it comes up in my YouTube feed, right? And I'm watching the 1948 version, the one that won the Academy Award. It's black and white with Laurence Olivier and Gene Simmons as Ophelia. And it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And I start watching it and I keep watching it. And if I've ever watched this whole thing, I think I did in high school when we were doing the play, and maybe we had to sit down and watch it. And it was it's kind of boring. Okay. It's just kind of Johnny one note. There's a couple places where Larry Olivier all of a sudden goes boom, and it really stands out. But most of it's kind of like this. And but the whole thing is that something occurred to me while I was watching it that had not occurred to me before, at least not that I remember. And I just jotted it down. And I don't expect anybody to be able to remember to read this, much less understand what it is. It's not huge, but it made me think, as compared to the temple endowment, which between the temple endowment and Shakespeare, which is it that repays repeated visits with new insights? And I think that for every one new insight the temple might give, you get at least 100 from Shakespeare.
And there are lines you can use to evaluate Mormonism, right? One may smile and be a villain.
At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. Very good, Bill. Hey, where'd you get that from?
ChatGPT.
One may smile and be a villain.
While you were asking, I said, give me a line from Hamlet I can use on Mormonism After Dark.
It's a similar sentiment to that of Richard III. I can smile and murder whiles I smile. Yeah. But here, the only thing was this, is that in the opening act, of course, you got Hamlet's father, the ghost, showing up, right? And Hamlet is the one who is brave enough to follow the ghost, okay? They bring him up there. The ghost shows up again like they thought he might, and he does. And Hamlet is following the ghost, and his friends are trying to keep him bodily, hold him back. And he whips out his sword and goes, hey, I'm going to cut your arms off if you try and hold me back anymore. He says, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me, which means tries to prevent me. Okay. And then he goes after the ghost, and they have the conversation, and the ghost tells him all the good stuff, right? But the thing is that he is brave enough. Hamlet is being presented as being very brave here. And it occurred to me that this is important. Just that one lesson that we understand about Hamlet, how brave he is, for the rest of the play, so that we can know that the reason that Hamlet doesn't go out immediately and seems to dawdle on the ghost's command to revenge his murder upon his uncle, who's the new king of Denmark. We all know the story, right? But there's a whole play of his dallying and not doing what it is he's supposed to do. The one thing that we can know from this is that the reason he dallies is not because he's afraid.
Right.
Because we've already seen that he's brave in following the ghost.
Right. Who says
so? It must be something else, in other words, something perhaps more interesting.
Yeah. Who says the line, thus conscience does make cowards
of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of doubt.
Yeah. Who
and
says
the crisis of great pith and moment? With this regard, the currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Hamlet. Act 3, scene 1, I believe.
Yeah. So there is, at least in that quote, an indication that sometimes conscience gets in the way and makes all of us cowards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea that within the context of the soliloquy, specifically, at least, I'm not trying to limit the interpretation, but generally it's understood to mean the conscience of being frightened of what will happen to us after death. And therefore we don't kill ourselves. We don't take our own life, even though we might be considering it. Obviously, some people do. But for Hamlet, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about the option of taking his own life. Is life worth continuing to live? And then he comes to this point where he changes and says, yeah, but what's going to happen to me after death? We don't know. And that's what makes many of us, including himself, continue to live, even though they have to go through so much crap, instead of just ending it all. But what you were saying, would you repeat what you were saying, Bill?
Oh, I just thought it was interesting. That line comes from Hamlet, and at least in part, and again, you're putting out the context, which makes a huge difference, but at least in part, he's noting, on one hand, you're saying this guy's brave, he's courageous, whatever gave him pause, it wasn't his courage being questioned. Mm-hmm. And I was just noting that if Hamlet's saying the other line, at least in part, he's noting that sometimes conscience can get in the way and cause all of us to have some parts that are cowardice in those moments.
Yes. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. And in his last soliloquy, he actually is talking about he berates himself for being a coward and not
Mm.
doing it. But I don't think it's cowardice. I think he's berating himself. And that's specifically for not avenging his father's murder in his fifth soliloquy later on. But yeah, he's definitely say every thought that is what? Quartered is 3 parts cowardice, 1 part something, and 3 parts cowardice. But yeah, it's a great play. And by the way, that is a very interesting insight that you brought up.
Speaking of cowardice, you've got something going on tomorrow.
Are you calling me a coward, sir?
I'm not.
Okay. I do not bite my thumb at thee, but I do bite my thumb. Yeah, Mormon caught lying. Film at 11. Actually, the film for this is going to be tomorrow night at I think 7:00 p.m.
Yeah, if you're gonna display all of the times in which Jacob Hansen is misportraying the facts, lying, deceiving people, this has got to be what, a 12-hour, 14-hour episode if you just tightly cut the sound bites one after the other?
Yes, well, this is just within the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
Of the lies that Jacob's told. So I'm able to condense this down to 20 minutes long. That's what a good liar he is. He can lie 20 minutes worth in 5. So, but this has to do with a recent thing talking about where he's trying to thread an invisible needle about infallibility and stuff. Colby Reddish says, RFM, you're Jacob dunking without me. Yes, I'm so sorry. But Colby, you know that you weren't available tomorrow, and we both know why. Because you're being a good dad is why. And really, isn't that more important than dunking on Jacob? And remember, your children will be able to watch this. Okay, that's what I thought you would say. But I've been working with somebody else whose name may or may not rhyme with Cultural Hall. And he's the one who came up with the thumbnail for me, which is very nice. I told him what I wanted on it. I wanted it the look of Jacob like he did when he had his head down and it said dazed and confused or divided and confused. Remember that one?
Yeah, dazed and confused, I think.
Yeah. So it's Mormon caught lying. I could have done it something fancy or Shakespearean, but I just went for the attention grabber. Mormon caught lying.
Yeah, but when he lies, it's like Germans saving Jews from the Holocaust.
You're right. He saved a lot of Jews, I think.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my gosh. Just like baptizing him in the temple. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's 20 minutes long, technically maybe 21, but it's 20 minutes long. And so I also want to say that Randy Bell is the guy who gave me the idea for this because we did a lot of this in a week ago, Wednesday's Mormonism Live. And I had gone and gotten a lot of clips from different church leaders on the issue. And we ended up having a wonderful discussion led by you. But it was like, it was over 2 hours long. And Randy says, that was great. But what if you took these clips from the leaders of the church that show that our dear friend, our Christian brother, Jacob Hansen, is lying his ass off, okay? And then just put them right together and alternate them, and that's it, okay? And I thought, that sounds good. That sounds good. So, and Randy says, so anytime anybody brings up Jacob Hansen, we don't have to spend a lot of time with him. We just send him this, and everybody knows that you can't trust him.
Yeah. Jacob is not an honest person. And there have been so many instances of him lying. And you'll see one of those tomorrow when Radio Free Mormon's newest episode hits. So this will be great.
Yeah, he's more a politician than a statesman, I think.
He is.
My mom used to tell me, I don't know who said this quote. Maybe somebody out there in the live chat can help me about the difference between a politician and a statesman. And what she said was, a statesman is a person who would rather be right than be president.
Yeah. Politician wants to get to the top. A statesman wants to do the people right by representing them.
Yeah, at least what he thinks or she thinks is right anyway, right?
Great.
But yeah, this is a politician, pure and simple, that we see before us. All right.
Yeah. By the way, he is made in the mold of LDS leaders. I mean, is he really any different than Nelson and Holland and all the bullshit that they would say?
I think his voice is a little more whiny and annoying.
Yeah, well, I give you that.
Behold, is this a liar I see before me, the handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee.
Yeah, he gets clutched a bunch tomorrow night. So
come, let me dunk thee. From a play with a guy named Duncan in it. It's Duncan Jacob. Oh, here's something that you're doing, Bill.
This is Wednesday night. This will be Mormonism Live. I've been thinking of the thumbnail has to be, just a few words. It has to get people to click the thing. But the title that we put underneath, I was thinking something like Joseph and Fanny barely scraping by. Something like that, like.
You see, that's exactly the kind of title I didn't do on the Jacob Hansen thing. This
will be a ton of fun. I learned a bunch of things this week about Fanny. I'll say Alger, Algier, whatever you want to call her, but neither of those. We'll learn.
Algiers.
We'll learn on Wednesday that neither of those do well. But Fanny Alger, learned a lot about her this week. We've got the slideshow ready. RFM and I will do this episode Wednesday, Mormonism Live, 6 p.m. And I think you'll learn things about this episode in church history and about Fanny Alger that you hadn't known before. I think you'll learn 4 or 5 things, and I think one of them will change the apologetic conversation around this forever. Forever.
This is the reason. This is the main thing that's driving this whole thing. Is this mind-blowing information and data point that Bill and I discovered recently.
Yeah, you discovered it first.
Yeah, through a listener who sent it to me.
Yep. So
that's the reason that this seems to look a little bit like John Travolta and Sandra Bullock on the thumbnail.
Does look a little bit like Sandra Bullock, and it does look a little bit like John Travolta. Joseph Smith. This is an image that was made, I think, by Jonathan Streeter, and then when that new picture of Joseph Smith came out, that picture, they made that face of Joseph Smith a little bit younger and then put it on this body. And so you do get a gist of Joseph Smith as a younger man, and he's a good-looking guy. But he wasn't well behaved, that's for sure.
You're the one that I want. Hey, guess what? Maylox is sending in a super chat and saying, I'm thinking of making the trip to St. George for Thrive. That's at the end of February, but I don't know anyone. Will it be a welcoming shindig for Nevermos, Alex, and PDX? Do you know what PDX is?
Phoenix, Detroit. I have no idea what the hell that is. Philadelphia. I don't have no idea.
Okay, well, maybe if Maylox sends us another super chat, they can tell us what it stands for. But no, you don't have to do a super chat for that. I'm kidding. Thank you for the super chat. You don't know anyone. There's going to be a ton of people. PDX is Portland, really? I wonder what the X is for. Was the PD already taken? Okay, it's Portland. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know. I guess that's the first letter and then the last letter, Portland, and then an X thrown there for no apparent reason. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are signed up. In fact, it's going to be bigger than it's ever been. I don't say that in order to try and intimidate you. I'm just telling you that there's going to be a lot of people there who are in the same boat as you. And there's going to be a lot of people there. This is the first time they're coming. And we know that because there's so many more coming this time. And that's even if everybody who came last time is coming this time, plus everybody else. There's going to be a lot of people there who are new, who don't know anybody else. And there'll be a lot of friends to make and people to see and to share your background. I think you're going to find you have a lot in common with a lot of people there.
Last year, the place they had it at, which was right next to the convention center, that would house somewhere in the neighborhood of like 350 people. This year, it's the convention center. It can hold up to about 740 people, and there's only about 100 tickets left remaining for Thrive in St. George at the end of next month. if you want to go to that, tickets are literally running out. You want to get those now.
Are they literally running out?
They're literally running out. Yeah.
Well, close the door.
Yeah. Well, you have to catch them.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's like the little prank calls I would do when I was 12. Calling up random numbers in the phone book. Hello. I'm from the repair. Of course, I have to deepen my voice when I was 12. We're from the electrical company. We have a survey. Is your refrigerator running, ma'am? Why, yes, it is. Well, you better catch it before it runs out the door. Oh my word. Those were good times.
And I'll just quickly mention here one other thing I've got coming up here, and this will happen in like 2 weeks. It'll be recorded next week. But there's a TV show called Pluribus. It's on Apple TV.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, Bill.
That's all right. That's all right. Let me take this down though.
Now, hang on a second though.
Okay,
Can we just put this up here?
please.
Because this is the thumbnail that you showed me right before the show. And I said, good Lord, Bill, what on earth is this? And you said, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, I don't know who the woman is, but I hope her skirt is down.
This could be, if you had to put a statement in a thought bubble or a talk bubble next to it, you could come up with a lot of things. Some of them would be a little dirty, but this was a play on the TV show Pluribus, which is.
Hang on a second. I'm not done commenting on this one.
Sorry.
Okay, hang on just a second here. Okay. Because this would be a great ad if Pluribus were like a new erectile dysfunction drug. And then would you join the Hive? Because I guess Hive is what we're calling it this week. Would you join the Hive?
Yeah.
Looks like Bill would. Okay. So I think I've had about as much fun as I want to have with that. By the way, do I know this woman? Because she doesn't look familiar.
So this is supposed to be Brittany Hartley. That's supposed to be me. Mm-hmm. It's a play on the movie Pluribus, which is on Apple TV.
And what are you supposed to be doing?
Well, in this movie, the entire world is affected in a way that they all become autonomous. Everybody sort of shares everyone else's memory, and they all work for the better good of society. So everybody's kind of like, I'll say a zombie in a sense, but they're good, and they want to help people, and they want to relieve suffering, and they want to share the workload of society. Well, there's about 12 or 13 people on planet Earth who aren't affected by this thing that happens. And the star of the TV show is one of them. And she's just pissed all the time because the world has been changed and she doesn't want it to be that way. And so when we created our thumbnail, it was to try to play on that. And then you went and ruined it for me. So now I have to change the thumbnail. I can't let this go out into the public sphere. That would be dangerous.
Well, some would look at it as a feature and not a bug.
Yeah, well, maybe this is what they call clickbait.
Yeah, I think people would really show up for this one.
All right. Well, there's enough of that.
If you streamed it live.
Good content coming out soon.
Oh, yeah. This was another comment about that same article about Joseph Smith Sr. and digging up Alvin's body. Some guy says, digging up your dead brother to appease a treasure guardian spirit is peak Mormon history.
It's a crazy story. Joseph Smith's going to dig up his brother to take him to the hill so that he can perform the ritual correctly with a treasure guardian spirit, get the gold plates, and dad catches wind of son's rumor and digs up his son himself to ensure that his son didn't dig up his dead son. Crazy stuff in Mormonism.
Yeah, this is why we just can't get enough, isn't it?
I love it. You can hate Mormonism, you can be angry at it, you can love it for all you care, but the history is such a fascinating tale of stories in 200 years that just like next week on Mormonism Live, we will continue for generations to learn new things.
Yes. That's what happens when you spend centuries, 2 centuries hiding shit, is that you get to find it. And it's really exciting when you find it.
This person makes a point, by the way. Pluribus is the Ned Flanders Borg. Everybody becomes Ned Flanders. And this pissy woman, and she's pissed at the world because it's changed this way. She is the exception. She does not want this to be this way. These people are happy to be 7 billion Ned Flanders walking the earth.
So it's like a happy zombie movie where they don't eat you.
They actually do eat people, but only
Uh-huh.
only after they die.
Well, okay. Do they kill them in order to, like if they're hungry?
Nope. When they die naturally, it would be a waste of material not to utilize it. So they ground it up into powder and put it in their food and drink so that they can get the protein and minerals and vitamins and survive, because the way they're doing life, they're going to starve to death eventually. And by eating people, they can push that off further into the future.
Soylent Green is people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is where Jasmine, now that I said something nice about her, at least, I don't know if it was nice. She seems like a nice person. There, I said something nice about her. So that will balance what I said here. Because she's doing a video about how awesome Joseph Smith was in translating the different stuff in the book of Abraham. And she has facsimile 1 and a big red circle around the butter knife that Anubis, the cross between Anubis and Yul Brynner, is holding. And I had to say, do you have any idea how desperate you sound?
You've been following a lot of her videos lately where she is offering up Book of Abraham apologetics, and you're trying to make it crystal clear to her that she's being ridiculous.
Well, no, actually, I don't think I was, I didn't make a conclusion. I just asked her if she knew. I'm just asking questions, Bill.
Yeah. Questions are honored. Opposition is not.
Oh, we got to do this one. Let's bring DG on. Hey, DG. DG.
Yeah.
Okay. Erase that search history now. Up here where it says Radio Free Mormon, this was on my Facebook page where I had said multiple conflicting accounts of the first vision prove it's true. Who knew? These were comments that were made there by others, and I wanted to bring them especially to people's attention. So let me see here. If we can read this. Is there any way that you know of, Bill, to make that any bigger? If not, I can do it, I think.
We can add this to the stage and make it just this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do this. Okay, so
Hold on a second. Let me do this.
okay.
Let's move this up for just a second. We've already seen what you said at the top. Let's view slideshow.
Clever girl. Thank you. So Jeffrey M. Spears, Spiers, says this: when the light rested upon me, I saw 2 personages standing above me in the air. One of them spoke to me, calling me by name, saying, "This is my beloved son, hear him." Seems pretty simple. This is in response to last Wednesday's show about how in Joseph Smith's theology, God went from being one to being plural. Okay, so that's what he's responding to. Seems pretty simple that they're plural. Will Carpenter says, boy, are you in for a surprise when you read the church's gospel topics essay on the multiple accounts of the first vision. That and the language alterations in 1 Nephi regarding the gods Nephi saw in his vision of the birth of Christ. God or gods, I should say. So Jeffrey Spears responds and says, are you under the impression I care what you think on this issue, or that I haven't fully read up on it? Remember, that's the guy who made the first comment. Will Carpenter says, cared enough to respond, I suppose. LOL. And then finally, now David Valverde says this: multiple accounts are further authenticity of the reality of said experience. Okay, this is news to every judge, every attorney, every police officer in the United States and in the world, that if you have multiple accounts that contradict each other, that somehow that means it's more likely to be true. He then goes on. I'll get to it here in just a second.
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to make this bigger. I can.
It's a strange thing that Mormons actually say that with a straight face, that the more different accounts from the same person about an experience contradict each other, the more likely it is to be true. He goes on, Joseph, thank you, Bill. Joseph likely believed in the Trinity at the time he received the first vision. So, of course, because he believed in the Trinity, he'd only see one God, right? What? Not fully understanding the vision he saw. So he saw two people, but he thought he only saw one because he believes in the Trinity. It wasn't until further revelation and understanding found in Doctrine and Covenants, section 130, that this was likely made clear to Joseph of the reality of the plural beings he saw. So he actually saw two, he just said one. Regardless of being multiple beings, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost are one God, head, as the Book of Mormon, etc. says. Well, when you have to, I don't know, change God to Godhead and put head after God in parentheses, then you might be fighting an uphill battle there, because what you're doing is changing the definition in mid-sentence.
It's not clear to these people, by the way, that they are just trying to confirm their belief and come up with any irrational way to make the thing mean what they want it to mean, rather than just deal with it as it said, which is clear that Joseph Smith's claims about this experience are constantly changing. They show up late to begin with, 1832, and then constantly change through 35 and 38.
No, but I'll guarantee you, when Jeffrey Spears and or David Valverde one day wake up, smell the Java, and realize that the LDS Church is not what they thought it was and what it claims to be, they'll be going, oh my gosh, how could I have been so stupid? Just like the rest of us.
Like the rest of us.
So we forgive you in advance. We understand that you know not what you do. All right. Hey, DG.
What's up?
You are right now.
Oh, well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, silly me. I could have had a V8. Why is it that there's multiple accounts of heavenly beings, but there's only one Satan? I've always wanted to know why there aren't multiple Satans.
Well, there's billions of Satans. By this point in time, I mean, even if just the people who are alive on the earth today, there would be 4 billion Satans. Can you imagine?
You would think.
That's a lot of Satans.
But, in which account is it that Joseph Smith, he's going into the grove, he's kneeling down to pray, and then this evil spirit overtakes him, and it's
38.
Satan.
38, yeah.
That never changes, does it?
You're being funny right now, right?
Maybe.
32, no mention of Satan. Not only does he not get top billing, he gets no billing at all. No mention of Satan. 1835, now we've got the sound of somebody walking. But he gets up, looks around, doesn't see anything, nobody's there, calculated to make that sound, and I believe that's it. And then finally by 1838, now we get a full-on Satan, full frontal Satan in the 1838 account. So yeah, they are different.
Well, I think it's a short shrift to Satan. We have, first it was Jesus, then we have Jesus and God the Father. But, once Satan enters the picture, we don't have a Satan Jr. or son of Satan, or what was the character that Adam Sandler played in that one movie? Was that?
I'm not sure I saw it.
Oh, where he plays the son of Satan and ends up being a really nice guy in the end. Anyway,
That's nice.
Yeah.
Son of Satan was a Marvel comic book back in the Silver Age.
I only read DC, man. Sorry.
Little
You missed out.
Nicky.
Little Nicky. That's right. Little Nicky.
Oh,
Thanks,
like
Bill.
Nick.
Yeah.
Can you look up Son of Satan Marvel Comics, Bill? Yeah, he was very strapping young man, as most of he's like a superhero. He's a rebellious youth. He's the son of Satan, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything his father does. So he has a bear. I don't think he wears a shirt, but he's got a nice cape. He's got a big pitchfork of some sort. There he is, Damon Hellstrom. Wow, these are newer pictures. There's one. Okay, now that I recognized. Yeah, there he is. So there he is. There he is without a shirt, but he does have the nice cape. Ah, yes, the pentagram on the chest. That is a big chick magnet. There he is, the son of Satan. I think I might have had that one.
This one right here, worth more than dead prophets.
It's number 20, which means it's basically kind of between I don't know. I don't have this down, but it was around in 73. it was 20 cents a copy. And then in 74, it went up to 25. Okay. So this is probably 73, could be 72. Before that, then it's 15. Okay. So I think we've exhausted that avenue of conversation, DG. What else do you have for us?
Not a whole lot. Just wanted to say thanks and appreciated the content this week. We experienced the Snowmageddon at the start of the week, and I know that's starting to hit the East Coast and the Northeast. But yeah, we're finally digging out of the snow. We actually got up into the 60s again today. So start of the week we were like down in 9. It was like 9 degrees with a minus 20 wind chill. And today we're sunny back up into the 60s. And so all of next week we're supposed to be sunny and warm again, which is great for West Texas this time of year. But I also wanted to add, RFM, just one final thing. I really appreciate you broadcasting from behind enemy lines and all of this talk of Nazism in the discussion and on the channel and everything. My grandmother was a French war bride. My grandfather, both my grandparents are on the maternal side. My grandfather was in Patton's Army and rescued my grandmother, brought her back to the States. And that's how my family started here in the United States. And so whenever I hear you say broadcasting from behind enemy lines, I get that. That's kind of got a special connotation in my family because my grandmother used to listen to the BBC and during the occupation. And, John has a long mustache. Growing up watching The Longest Day. And then, what was that other one? Broadsword calling Danny Boy. Broadsword calling Danny Boy. Gathering Where Eagles Dare, I think. Yeah, Where Eagles Dare, I think was that movie.
With Richard Burton?
Yeah, and Clint Eastwood. It is by far
I've never seen it. Never seen it, but isn't it based on a novel by Ken Follett?
Yes. He also did Guns of Navarone.
He did a lot of things. He was a big writer.
But
I almost read one of his books once. It just was too big. I couldn't make it. Sorry.
It is Clint Eastwood's most violent movie ever made. Everybody thinks that spaghetti westerns were bad, but no, Clint Eastwood, he goes to town on the bad guys.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm dead
Is
serious.
it better than Inglourious Bastards?
Oh, far more. Well, at the time, I think, if you look at the violence of the period of the 1960s versus, the 2000s, 2010s, it was very violent. Clint Eastwood picks off quite a bit of those Germans in that movie. But anyway, appreciate the broadcasting from behind enemy lines. I think we have a new thing in the chat going so that every time he who shall not be named is mentioned, we all just use the vomiting icon, the vomiting meme, the Jacob Hansen. So anyway, it's kind of fun. We are definitely having fun in the chat. And yeah, I encourage everybody, come join us. It's a lot more fun to see what's going on over there on the side. But just wanted to say thanks and hey.
Yes.
Nice.
Are you freezing?
He's frozen. Oh, there he is.
No.
Moving. All right.
Frozen for a second?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, were you just saying goodbye?
Yeah, just hey guys, see ya, yo, see y'all later.
That kind of hey. Bye. See you, DG. The stars at night are big and bright.
This is one of my favorite ones. This next one you've got here. Let's put it up this way, though.
What is that?
Right here.
What is that? So this is some more comments. This is from heck if I know. But what does that say?
You tools for the evil one have no idea how it all works.
Can you read the name? Because the person who wrote this should get credit, I think.
Frederick Abele, Abele. Frederick Abele. You tools for the evil one have no idea how it all works. Those who mock God will learn and by their fruits be known. The Holy Spirit, Ruach Hadash, does speak to those who listen and acknowledge the messaging. I get downloads daily from the Holy Ghost. This man is going to be left outside the gate. That guy's crazy.
Sometimes it's a good thing to be left outside the gate, especially when the house is on fire.
Cuckoo.
But then someone else says, can you, let's see, Ace Trade,
Ace
something
Trader,
like that.
yes.
Says, let's test your claim, crazy man. Please ask the Holy Spirit, 1, the color of my shirt, 2, the last 5 digits of my bank account, and 3, what number I just wrote down. Good luck with your download.
Yeah, you can test the Holy Ghost and it doesn't work. It's broken every time. It's like quantum mechanics when light is particles. What's the other thing? Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I was trying to read the next part.
That's all right.
Quantums, quarks, neutrons.
Quantum mechanics says that light shows up as particles or
Waves.
something else. Yeah, maybe. And then
Waves.
when the observer watches it, it changes. Well, the Holy Ghost is the same way. When there's another observer who says, let's test it. Let me ask you a question. What am I holding on this card that's not facing you? And the Holy Ghost is worthless.
Sorry, it's like a scene out of Ghostbusters.
It's worthless.
Hence the sound effect. Someone comes to Crazy Man's rescue and says, hey, you're delusional, Ace Trader. He never said he was a psychic. That's divination, which is not of the Holy Spirit. And then Radio Free Mormon chimes in. What does Radio Free Mormon say, Bill? Boy, maybe I'll read. I can't hear you, Bill.
Yeah, God wisely restricts himself to the untestable.
That's how smart God is.
Yeah, he's not going to get fooled by you. He's
not going to give you rope to hang him with. Come on, man. It's God we're talking about.
By the way, in Mormonism, God has actually revealed himself in plenty of things that are testable, and he's not there.
Yeah. If God gave enough rope to his creations to hang him, it would kind of be like Frankenstein.
Yeah. What is that? If you go back one second, what is this Rarsh Hakodesh?
Well, I know Ruach. I think he means Ruach without the R.
Hakodesh.
Ruach Elohim is the Spirit of God. But he's saying the Holy Spirit, so I don't know. Holy might be Hakodesh or something.
There's too many Mormons out there who go one step further than all the other Mormons just to show how fucking smart they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing me.
Yeah.
And here's this part. Can you read this part? This was actually on the show where Colby was on with should I say the name?
Well, Steve Pinecker.
Okay, Stephen Pinecker and some other Protestant guy whose name I forget, and then Jacob Hansen. And so I wanted to be the first person to comment, and I was. And I said, so Jacob is still too chicken shit to actually debate Colby on the Book of Mormon. LOL.
Yeah. He gets together.
Yes, because that was specifically negotiated that it could not be talked about.
Right. Jacob came in saying there are certain things that are off limits, and any kind of back and forth where I'm going to lose, those are off limits.
Yes, that's how zealous Jacob Hansen is to defend the Book of Mormon, is that he says, before I go on a show, we can't talk about the Book of Mormon. It's kind of laughable, isn't he? Okay, one more, and then we've got someone else on.
Yeah,
we'll bring them on. Vocal Sem Music Works. Vocalese Music Works, I bet. Says, I was baptized in that under tabernacle font, no oxen. Remember when we were talking, we're finding out, maybe it's from DG, that there was in the tabernacle, under the floor, where the floor is now toward the front, there's a baptismal font. I did not know that.
Me either. And
Vocalese Music Works says, I was baptized in that under tabernacle font, no oxen. The no oxen is reference to me asking, well, was it on oxen? Like the one in the temple, the 12 oxen. So there we have that. Okay, so that's pretty much far enough. Let's get Damn It Dan on the show. Can we, damn it?
Isn't he the creator of your Elmoheme? Dan,
I don't know. Damn it, Dan.
Howdy, guys. Can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
Nope.
He's the one who did it. This is Dan Child. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Fine. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, Rebecca messaged me on Messenger and told me you guys were talking about it earlier. So I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm coming on.
We were totally
So-
talking shit about you, Nan.
Oh, good. I deserve it.
No, we did. We were talking about how you had put this together. By the way, thank you for calling in because you allow me to say what I don't think I said before. The fact that you can put together something that's so funny that Chuck thinks it's funny on 3 different levels is brilliant in itself. It's only made more brilliant by the fact that you can't see.
Yeah, I never see my images or how they turn out. It's pretty good.
Yes.
And sometimes I do fail, and that's even funnier at times. So, yeah.
So how do you do this, Dan? How do you create something if you can't see?
So I go into a bit more detail rather than just create an image, do this, and then send it off. No, I go like specific details on the left side of the screen, have him doing this, or have this person doing this thing, or have this expression on their face, and very descriptive words. And then I'll do titles, subtitles, and then text or subtext at the top or bottom of the images. Have those in quotes, and then send that off, see what it does. And then I'll take that image, go to another AI, have it describe it to me on my phone because my phone reads out to me. I use TalkBack. And so I'll have another AI describe it to me. If it catches anything, I'll go back, ask it, hey, did you do this? Oh, yes, I did. And hey, correct this way. And usually it takes a couple of times, and sometimes I'll get it, and other times it hits it on the first mark. So
How many times did this one with Elmo's World take?
it took maybe 3 because I used GROK to Grok to use it. ChatGPT wasn't going to touch it. It said something about third parties not allowing it. So, so Grok did it. And then when it did it, it took a while to figure out where the download button was. So when I did finally download it, I had it described to me, and it said there were actual other friends, like other Muppet friends in the background. I was like, nope, I just want the one. So I had to do it a second or third time. So
Well, this is a phenomenal job that you have done. And it's just Chuck, you sent it to me this morning, said, hey, can you send this to Chuck? Because I really liked what he had to say on Wednesday. I sent it to him. He was over the moon about it. And if you go back and listen, which I hope you will, to the show, you'll hear him
oh yeah.
talk about how funny it was and how funny it is.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to go back to the beginning and catch it from the start. I actually woke up at 9:00, so I my sleep schedule's all screwed up. I sleep in the afternoon, so no frame of reference during the day.
Yeah.
Elmo thinks
So-
it's so funny.
And we have Elmo in the studio with us.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Dan, I think you've outdone yourself. This is a masterpiece.
I appreciate it. I'm glad it turned out well.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm glad you got through and onto the show so we could give you the credit that you so richly deserve.
Thank you.
All right.
So, how have you been, Bill? How are things going?
Life is good, my friend. I'm doing quite well. How are you doing? I haven't seen, of course, you're sending stuff on a regular basis like this, but last time I saw you was at the live Mormon newscast in Salt Lake City.
Yep, back in August.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's life
That
treating you?
was a fun event. Life's been good. I just hanging around. I don't know if you ever saw that large vein in my arm, my fistula, that I was using for dialysis.
I did not see any veins in your arm.
I did take some before and after pictures, and then the surgeon actually took a picture of it removed. So that's gone, and my arm feels a lot better. But yeah.
Glad
Can
to
we
hear.
put the pictures up? I think the audience would like to see them.
I'm not sure how to send that through this, but
It's okay because I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
right. Yeah. It's pretty gruesome from what I've been told. So yeah, probably not probably not something people want to see anyway. So but
No.
things have been good. Things are going quite
Good.
well.
Well,
So
good. I'm
it
glad
sounds
to
like you
hear it.
guys have some great things coming up. So
Yeah, keep on listening, my friend. Keep sending stuff our way, and we'll keep putting it up when something seems like it strikes the moment.
sounds good. Yes.
Thank you again, Dan. You have a good weekend. All right.
You two guys, you take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So glad Dan called.
Well, it is 9:32, my friend. We got through a bunch of it. Happy to go through a little more if you got something, but the night tis come to a close.
Yes, that's a sad thing, isn't it? Well, I tell you what, I'll just mark where I was with all this. Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to this episode, actually, more than most of your episodes. This one I'm definitely going to listen to.
I hope you do.
Pluribus, would you join the hive? I would. All right, we'll get rid of this thing. And we will say to everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope there were a few more people in the live chat. I'll find out once I get home and get more comfortable and check out the live chat. You know, when I'm checking out the live chat now, I'm actually doing research for future Mormonisms After Dark as I get screen grabs of particularly funny comments or deep insights like the one about, every day after you figure it out is a bonus. So there's so many of those comments that we haven't gotten to yet. So I don't think we're ever going to lack for witty and funny comments from members of this audience. All right, Bill, we're about out of here. Anything you want to say to the folks before we go? My words exactly.
Tune in Monday for the newscast, Wednesday for Mormonism Live, and going to be some great shows, I think, coming up. And we're really excited to keep putting out content for folks.
Yes, we are. So I'll see you tomorrow night, 7:00 p.m. Mountain Time. It'll be a 21-minute Radio Free Mormon, and we'll stick the fork into Jacob Hansen because he'll be done at that point. See you then, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Until then, this is Mormonism After Dark saying good night.